everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk about fundamentals because, as you know, it's a very important class. You're going to be carrying it throughout nursing school, and this is a class that you learn how to apply critical thinking in a question, how to learn how to answer these priority questions, what do you do next, or further teaching questions. So this is a very important book, and I don't know if you saw the book, or if you're already in A, you should know that the book is like this thick and the letters are this small. So I'm gonna be telling you guys how to read this book, but don't be intimidated by how I've been studying for this class, because it sounds crazy, but trust me, like, it's worked for my friends and they're doing the same study method as I am. But first, before I start off telling you guys like how I study, I just want to let you know that everyone learns different. You know, some people are just like, they could just read through without taking notes. There's different ways of studying, but how I do it is that I need to apply colors in my studying. I need to look at pictures. I need to understand like the gist of like each paragraph, okay? Because when I'm like, okay, I have to read 50 pages, I start like overwhelming myself, and you can't do that. Like, you can't rush, like you can't be thinking about how you're gonna finish when you haven't even focused on like, what am I gonna do now? So what I like to do is like, I just break it down, each paragraph. I think as if like, okay, I'm just reading this paragraph, and then I'm gonna move on to this one, and then this one, and then this one. So that's what I do. Okay, so it's hard to explain this, but I don't want to sound like too crazy. But what I like to do is that the night before class, I like to read the chapter. You just skim through it, okay? Don't be reading in depth and take 5 hours to read one chapter, okay? Kind of just skim through it, look at the pictures, look at the charts, look at anything in parentheses, look at signs and symptoms. Those are big ones because those are usually your select all that apply questions. Look at anything bolded, highlighted, and if you don't know a word, look it up. There's many times I ask like my friends like, oh, so what is gross motor skill and what's the difference between gross motor skill and fine motor skills? And they're like, oh no. Like, no, you have to look up everything. Just, if you don't know a word, just look it up. We all have Google, we all have access to computers right now, so just look that up. So that's what you do. Just kind of skim through it, you know, think in your head like, okay, what am I going to be learning? You know, what's the whole idea of this chapter? So that when you go to class the next day, use a different highlighter, not the one that you used when you were reading, but the one with the professor. And then just go over any important points that she mentioned in class, or if there's like a bullet point in the PowerPoint and you find it in the book, like highlight that, because that could be important as well. And what I like to do is like, I love these pens. I mentioned in my other video, but like, I love these pens. It's from this company. It writes thin. It doesn't, you know, leak through the page or anything. So I like to take notes on the book, or if not, like, I like to use these like I'm just gonna pull it out of my book. Like, I'll just put this like no ABGs, and I'll just slap it onto the book exactly to what the professor like said or mentioned. Like, I just slap any important notes and just slap it on the book if you don't want to like write in the book. Because when you go back home, you could, you know, review what she was talking about. And when you read it for the last time, okay, you'll understand it. Trust me, because the more you read it, the more you skim through it, you know, it'll like sink in your brain. And then when you apply colors, you know, and write, sometimes I have to write things. Like, if I'm not getting it, I'll just write it down. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get it now. I'm gonna read it in my head over and over again, and then just understand like, okay, what's going on with what I'm reading. Yeah, so that's basically what I do. And then after I read, okay, I just read it 3 times, if not twice. If I don't have time, twice. But for sure, I will read the chapters, because I've had people go through class and they haven't read, and I'm like, power to you if you could get through an exam without reading, but I have to read in more than once. So after I do that, like, I like to create charts. So this is my fluid and electrolyte charts. I love electrolytes. So I kind of break it down here. See, there's my sodium. Make sure you know lab values. You know, sometimes I add like food in there. So this is a little chart. I will try to upload this under the information. I haven't learned how to do that yet. So I will try my best to upload this. And then I also like to do like this chart that I created. See, hypovolemia, the causes, like I mentioned, you know, these could be also select all applies, or this one. So that's what I do. And then I have the hypervolemia. And anything that's like hyper, I like to add it on the same page, because then I you know, I could like refer and see like, okay, what's going on in here, and then this should be like the opposite. And then here are the interventions. This is also a biggie, because these select all apply, man. The NCLEX is adding like 30 select all apply, so you have to, you know, make sure you know everything in detail and understand it. You can't just get away with like memorizing like 2. Like that's not gonna slide anymore. You have to know all of it. So what I like to do is I'll just, you know, sit at home, or sometimes I'll be watching TV with my friends and I'm just there like hypovolemia. You know, it causes bleeding, hemorrhage, fluid, dehydration, a whole bunch of stuff. So you just kind of sit through there and memorize this. Okay. So after I do all of this, okay, what I do the night before an exam, I cram all my information in on one paper. This is kind of crazy because, you know, sometimes I write notes and like I have one note over here and then I'm flipping through there and then I'm going back to the book and I'm like, oh my God, where is it? So when you write your own notes, these are all from these pens, by the way. So yeah, this is actually from MedSurg, because I started doing this in MedSurg and it has helped me the night before an exam. So, you know, the day of, I'm kind of just sitting there like going through all the signs and symptoms, the medications, interventions. So, see, like I'll go through. This is, see, like I did stroke, right-sided, left-sided. Yeah, these are all like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. Yep. So I go through all of this. I'm sorry, I did not say, I meant like right brain damage, left brain damage. I was reading stroke on here, but yeah, this is the brain damage, and then these were like the risk for strokes. But yeah, that's basically what I do. I just go through my own handwriting, you know, the things that I know like I need to remember that I'm having a hard time, you know, sinking it in. I just put it on this paper. What I know, I don't even put it on here because I'm confident, I'm good, like, move on. So that's what I do. And yeah, it's a lot of information. It does take hard work and time management. Time management is so important. You know, I work, I hang out with my friends, I do what I have to do, but you do need to take at least 3 days off, the full day, you know, to sit down and really read the book. Okay, I don't know how people get away with it, but like you have to read it, you have to understand it, and in a way you have to make it fun for you. You know, I was never a school person. I was a ballet dancer. I didn't really like school, but nursing was my passion. I know I want to save, you know, help save people's lives and, you know, care for them. And people are going to ask you a whole bunch of questions, and you don't want to sound like you don't know what you're talking about. You have to, you know, make them trust you, you know, so you could care for them. So that's what I do. And if you're having a hard time memorizing, like right now I'm in pediatrics, and we have to memorize all these vaccines. So see, like, I'll do charts, I'll do different colors, so I know, like, okay, this is for 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, 12 to 15 months, you know. So all of this will help me with, you know, for exams, for the ATI. I don't know if you guys have ATI, but I do, and you have to know, like, little details. And another thing is that make sure you know your numbers. Like, any lab value, write it down. Like, that is the key for any questions. Like, even if the question's asking a female woman who's 52 years old, you could eliminate anything that has to do with male and just focus on female. Like, what are risk factors for females? And if she's an older woman, like, what is she at risk for? Is she at risk for falls? Like, you know, what's going on? You could, like, break it down. You don't have to, you know, think I'm like, oh my God, like sometimes we're so nervous that we don't even focus on the questions. So really, you know, take a deep breath. You study for it. You can do it. You know, I've passed all of my exams. Like, I was not an A+ student in high school. Like, I had to work for my grade, and nursing school, that's the same thing that I'm doing, but it's totally possible. You guys can do it. If you have any more questions or anything else, let me know. I will be posting more videos. I'll probably do more on, like, test taking tips, because that's an area where, like, you know, I struggle with it, but I've actually gotten better, like, as I progress through the program. It's just like you start finding out, like, little tricks, like, why they ask me that? I can't even speak right now. But sometimes you're like, why this question, you know, like, what are they asking in this? Like, they're trying to play mind games on you, like, trying to confuse you, so you pick the wrong answer, and it's like, like, I know my stuff. Let me see what's going on here. So, yeah, you kind of have to, you know, have fun with it. You know, you will pass, you will graduate, you'll be a great nurse. Alright, guys, so that's about it. See ya!